Yes? No?
Yeah, just waiting for a few more. Yeah, just waiting for a few more viewers.
Yeah, we just wait for viewers to before
right.
we start so that we could, have.
It's 9 o'clock here, so good night for me and good morning for you guys.
Morning, yes. Saturday morning for us. No work.
That's great. Time to rest.
It's time to rest indeed. Sharing is caring. So let's share this live.
Yeah.
This is really very exciting, Gabriela. Oh, how should we call you? Molly or Gabriela?
Well, guys, in the Philippines, everybody call me Molly.
Yes.
Well, my family and those who love me call me Molly. So in my heart, I believe that people from Philippines love me. So Molly is.
Yeah, there was even one time, I remember there was one time when I think I addressed you as Molly in the official email of Miss International, and I realized, oh my goodness, Mr. Iwata is gonna read this one. How come he's gonna I have to be more formal with the job,
I know, I always like Gabriela, just to keep the
formality. Gabriela.
But here, we're friends, so you can call me Molly.
Sure.
I think we can start now.
I always say Stephen, but Mariam told me that is Stephen. Stephen,
yeah.
Stephen.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I said no because she said it's Stephen. Yeah, okay.
Everyone in Japan calls me Stefan or Stefan, but yeah, it doesn't matter. As long as the spelling is okay, I'm fine with it.
That's important.
Yeah. Okay, I think we can start now.
All right.
So, good morning from Manila and welcome to another episode of Missosology Beauty Talks. I am Drew Francisco and I am joined by former Missosology correspondent and Miss International Marketing Manager Stephen Diaz. And it is my pleasure to present to you our very special guest for today, Venezuela's 7th Miss Universe, the beautiful Miss Gabriela Easter. Hi, Molly.
Hi, Drew. Hi, Stephen again. It's my pleasure to be here, sending my love to Manila, to all Philippines, mabuhay and good morning. Here is good night, but I'm very happy to join you and start the day with energy and a good conversation.
Yes, good Friday conversation for you there, right?
Yes, and we're very, very thankful for your time. So to start off,
I'm very excited about this.
Yeah. To start off, before we start all the pageant talk, we just want to ask, how are you doing right now, especially now with a lot that's happening in the world right now?
Well, actually, I have to say that I'm very lucky because on March 9th, I flew through Venezuela because I have the beauty season starting from Miss Venezuela. So I have work to do and I came to my office and it was like getting ready to start the season. And on March 13th, the government announced the quarantine in my country. And since then, I'm literally stuck here. Before I was in the US where I reside. But honestly, I'm so happy that I had the chance to spend this time with my family, with my husband, the time to actually focus on myself, in my projects. I think God gave us an opportunity to, okay, I give you some time. I will give you some, concentration and focus time, quality time for you. So I have been enjoying myself, writing my book. And my mom was staying with me for almost 2 months after 6 months that I haven't seen her. So I really enjoyed the time. She cooked desserts every day. So I gained 5 pounds or more. It doesn't matter. But I'm very grateful. All my family is in good health. I have an uncle who is a doctor obstetrician in Ecuador, and he got COVID-19 during his work in the hospital, but he's fine. He's recovering himself. But having that case in our family make us more aware and given it was like we all came together and we strengthened our bonds as a family. So it was very, very, I am enjoying this time for myself and to enjoy my family.
Yeah, that's really nice to hear. A lot of beauty queens as well, they've been spending a lot of time traveling here and there. So sometimes they don't have time for their family, or it's not that they don't want to spend time with their family, but it's just the
You always back
busy,
and
the busy demands of a beauty queen. And like this one became more of a blessing in disguise for you because you get a chance to spend more time with your family there in Venezuela.
yes, and I have to say that besides to spend more time with my family, my grandma turns 90 years old, and I was with
Whoa.
her. Yeah, I mean, it was my birthday, my mom's birthday, my wedding anniversary, like a lot of things happening this couple of months to celebrate life. And 2 months, no high heels, no makeup. I mean, that was awesome. But I'm very grateful, and I'm hoping that I'm trying to share message about like awareness, and I'm trying to keep my strength to provide others that kind of motivation and inspiration during this time.
Yeah. You're still a very influential figure there in Venezuela and all over the world, even though it's been 7 years or 6 years since you passed the crown to Paulina. Yeah, but you're still there, being an influential figure.
Yeah, I think so. I think that as a millennial or as the last beauty queen in my country, I can connect better maybe with the youngest girls that they have the dream to become, my Spanglish back and forth here in Venezuela. But I believe not because of my age, but my interest, the things that matter to me, and the way that I live my life, and I share that people connect with my story, connect with my truth, connect with, I don't know, the things that I have to share. So I think that I'm a very, very lucky woman, and I'm trying to keep that authenticity to to keep the good, I don't know, to keep my community happy as well.
Yeah, the beauty pageant community, especially there in
Yeah.
Venezuela, right? But speaking of beauty pageant questions, Drew has so many in store
Uh,
for you.
and
True.
uh, to start
Ready.
off, not much has been talked about you growing up in Venezuela. So I'm curious to know, as a little girl, how was it growing up in your hometown in Maracay? And did it ever cross your mind when you were young that you're going to be Miss Universe?
Absolutely no. Actually, I think it was a month ago. I posed a picture about my first pageant. A lot of people tell me like, Gabby, do you need to start writing in English because we want to know the stories behind? But it was not part of my dreams. Because, I mean, here in Venezuela, a lot of girls like literally grow up dreaming about being Miss Venezuela, having the crown, and it's kind of like I don't know, maybe moms are very pushing about this, but my mom was never like that. And when I was 14 years old, I mean, all my childhood, I was different. I was the tallest, I was the thinnest, my hands are really big, as you see. I have long legs. So I was always kind of different. I think because of my heritage. My dad's family is from Switzerland, Germany, France. From my mom's side, my grandma is part Native American, so she's very, I don't know, it's like a very a
Indian,
Venezuelan beauty.
the
Yeah, I don't know. She had that native, I don't know, cheeks, and she's very exotic. So
yes, yes.
my dad, from my mom, my grandfather from my mom's side, his heritage is from Spain. So here in Venezuela, you're never gonna find a woman that look like other.
That's true.
There's
Yeah, that's
this,
very true. Now that you mentioned it, yeah.
yeah. When people see me, it's like, where are you from? Like you're Italian, like where are you from? Because you cannot define by our look from where we are.
Yeah.
So I always look different. So during my childhood, I have a lot of like, I don't know if it's traumas. I don't want to say the word, the correct word doesn't come to my mind, but I was very ashamed to like use any kind of like, I don't know, skirts because of my legs, or maybe show my freckles, or maybe smile because I have separation on my front piece.
Uh-huh.
And I was super different to the rest. Even to my cousins, they're always like girly, and I was like, I'm gonna wear Converse. I don't like this. I'm not that kind of girl. But when I turned 19, when I turned 14, my mom's sister passed away in a car accident, and she was super devastated as well. My grandma. So she found a newspaper announced, and it was from an academy, a model academy. And he said, you know, Gabby, you should go there. You know, why not? And I said, okay, grandma, if that will make you happy, I'm gonna do it for you. So the model academy actually gave me a scholarship, and they say, we're gonna take you, we're gonna train you, we're gonna teach you whatever we can because you have potential. So since then, I realized that it was a world where I fit, where I didn't feel different, where actually I look like others and I can compare myself in a way that is safe for my mental health. So being in Miss Venezuela, never a dream. Actually, 10 years after, when I turned 24 years, is actually when I went to the casting in Miss Venezuela. Yeah.
So 14 years old, when you were that age, how tall were you by that time?
I don't know, like 5'8". I was
That's quite tall, right?
Yeah, for a 14-year-old.
14-year-old. So that modeling, I remember like, if I'm not mistaken, Diana Mendoza also started with modeling before she ventured into beauty pageant, and at a very young age as
she
well.
did international.
Yeah. I think I'm not sure about Edimar though, but I learned some of the really tall Miss Venezuelans basically started with a modeling career before they entered the Miss Venezuela pageant.
Yeah. Usually because of this mix of culture, we are like, you can see Venezuelan women like 5'11", 6 feet, or 5'8". I mean, we are usually super tall. But in Venezuela, the modeling is still something small. At this time, we don't have like the New York Fashion Week or like those type of events that actually can like take your career to a different platform. So many girls like Diana did, she went to Italy and I think another countries to do modeling. In my case, I was doing modeling in my hometown, and sometimes I went to Caracas for any kind of runway shows that I was elected.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's usually like a stepping stone before going to Miss Venezuela.
That's true. Because you said you had a very low self-esteem when you were younger. You were not so comfortable with your long legs.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was like I was looking like a flamingo. I don't know.
Flamingo.
So when you started doing modeling, was the goal already to go to Miss Venezuela, or you were just doing it out of fun?
Yeah, I was doing it just because, just for fun, and actually it was a way to help my mom. My parents got divorced when I was 6 years old. So my mom, I was raised with my mom family, and they're all women and they're very hard workers. So my mom always taught me, you have to be independent, you have to have, a career, you have to be a professional. So that kind of hobby give me some money to put in my pocket and help my mom and actually go to the movies with my friends or all of that. But when I was 15 years old, a friend of mine that actually is still my friend, is one of the makeup artists from Miss Venezuela. He's now in Miami. I was 15 or 16, I can't remember, and he told me, okay, Molly, this is your time before you like continue like changing your plans for future. Let's go to the Miss Venezuela organizations and see what happened. And I said, listen, this is not my goal right now. In my mind, I was focused to continue finish my school and go to the university and complete my education. And just after that, I allow myself to go to the casting. I was finishing my college degree. It was my last trimester, and I said, okay, I just need to present my finals, and why not? And until like 10 years after, when I turned 24, it was still not a dream. It was my mom's dream, actually. She was like, you need to compete. This is for you. She actually went to the school. She went to school with Pilín Leon, Miss World.
Oh.
And she competed with her. She always make fun about it. She competed with her on the, the school beauty queen, like the sport queen of the school.
Oh.
My mom won. She said, I won, Pilín Leon.
You won, like, your mom won against Pilín Leon in a sports beauty pageant.
Yeah. So I think it was more my mom's dream, and I just to see my family happy and make their dreams come true, they were my dream as well. So I went to the casting not because it was a dream, it was a challenge. It was a goal for me to prove myself that I was capable. And it was my first beauty pageant, because when I competed in my 14 years, it was a modeling pageant. I didn't have to show my personality. I didn't have to like show my charm and show about yourself. It was just make a runway, put a number in your hips, and that's it. You're a number and you're a model.
Yeah.
It was very, very different to a beauty pageant. So Miss Venezuela was my first beauty pageant.
Yeah, so now we move forward to the 24-year-old Molly joining Miss Venezuela. So what was the feeling when you first walked in and you saw all the other girls who are vying to become a candidate for Miss Venezuela? Because we know how crazy it is in Venezuela during screening.
When you first met Elian with a 6'3" height or
Well, I have to say that by the time that I went to the Miss Venezuela for the castings, there was still the regional pageants happening around the country. So they make like local elections before the final competition. So there were a couple of states that they were already assigned. So they were doing casting for those places that have no representative yet.
Yeah.
So when I get to the office, it was my first pageant. What I should know about looking like a beauty queen, the hair, the makeup, I was like, whoa, like this is not for me. And when I walk in, I remember that I had 3 pair of shoes, like a black pumps, golden sandals, I can't remember the other one. And those girls were like, no playing games, like brand, all dressing like spectacular. And I was like, wow, I cannot compete with this. It's like, I came from a very humble family. My mom and my family gave me everything that I need. I went to college, I got my degree. I studied all my life in a Catholic school. My mom and my family gave me all the best, but I could not compete with that luxury and that glam, because some girls like born with that. They born with the charm and the diva poses and all of this, and it was not my case. So I feel very, I don't know, like, wow, like my self-esteem went again very low, because I felt that I was not on the same level of competition that all the girls there. So but it was a motivation for me, because I say, Gabby, this where you came from, it doesn't define where you can go. It doesn't matter how they look. It matters how you look, whatever you have. That's my mom always say, Gabby, you can put a black trash bag and you will look elegant. So I said, okay, mommy. I think that helped me to improve my confidence, and in actually that kind of sensation of like, I don't know, like the word doesn't came to my mind right now, but that feeling, like, just give me a heads up. Okay, Gabby, you're gonna be here to do the best. So doesn't matter what the other girls are doing. This is your light. You don't need to turn off anybody lights. You need to like pump your light and let's go. So it was a quite experience for me.
And maybe it also turned out to be an advantage for you because you have no prior expectation. You just went there raw, and
Yep.
at the same time, I think that is also one thing that back then Osmel Sauza was probably looking for. You know, someone who is raw and new,
Maybe.
a new brand, a new type of Miss Venezuela. Because yeah, anyway, we'll talk about it later on. You know, because your edition, your year in Miss Venezuela is probably one of the most followed Miss Venezuela editions after
I
Irene.
agree.
You know, after becoming second runner-up in Miss Universe. So like, I was
Oh,
following your year actually, Miss Venezuela, although I didn't understand Spanish, but yeah.
I think I think everyone was following the year because everyone was cheering for Irene to win the competition.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that day I was flying to Miami because I was getting I went to study English in the US.
Uh-huh.
So I literally was flying to the airport the night of Miss Universe, and I put my sash on and I said to the official, listen, she's competed. If she win, this is not for me anymore. I'm gonna go to the University here. So please let me pass because I need to get to the TV at the hotel here at the airport in Miami to watch what's gonna happen. So I remember that day perfectly in my mind. I was with my mom and she didn't won. And I was like, oh my God, now all the eyes is gonna be on
Yeah,
me
on
and
you.
I need to do 200% better because she's amazing. Her runway is impeccable. So it was a very challenging year for me to to shine with my own essence, with my own persona, with my own, I don't know, personality,
Mm-hmm.
and look, like conquer the audience and not don't feel bad in the process.
Yeah, because I think when Irene, when she won Miss Venezuela, that was after Miss Universe was held, or some, I think it was around September. Usually you crown your girls around September, right?
Mine was August 30th.
Oh, so that's much
But
earlier.
usually
Yeah,
September, August, yeah.
September, August, because Miss Universe 2011 was held around September. And Irene's pageant was also, I think, around September, if I'm not mistaken, or I'm
Okay.
not sure. Like, but in your case, you were crowned August, but the Miss Universe competition happened December. So you were already officially Miss Venezuela by then,
Venezuela. Mhm.
when Irene competed in Las Vegas with the Christmas theme Miss Universe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She was competing and I was flying to the US because on January I was starting my English course.
Mhm.
And it was the competition right there on December. So you feel more pressure on your shoulders when the contestant, the representative before you is such an excellent representative. So as a Venezuelan, you push yourself to do even better, or not better, but do it different, but still keep the standards of being Venezuela in a beauty pageant like Miss Universe.
Yeah, but we would like to know the journey towards winning the Miss Venezuela crown.
Yes.
And because there are so many interesting, but
Uh,
just like what I said, it's one of those that I personally followed your year in Miss Venezuela. That was very interesting year.
so yeah,
Yeah,
so we talked early. Yeah, go, Gabriela. Okay. So we talked earlier about you going to the casting, and then the moment that you were such Miss Guarico, and then so how was it like competing in probably the most followed national pageant in the world?
well, first, maybe as a Stefan say, my expectations were like out of place because it was my first pageant. I never imagined that I could win the pageant. It was like this is my first time. It's like really, Gabby. But after I was every day proving myself that I was capable and like seeing how I perceive the evolution in all my capabilities. I was doing best in runway, I was doing best in oratory. So that that process of like discovering myself allowed me to recognize me as a valuable to recognize myself as a valuable woman, that I can actually give something different to the pageant, different to those girls that passed before me, because I think that it's important that you create a statement that this girl is beautiful, but I am beautiful in my own way. So when I won Miss Venezuela, it was a very deep process, in the good way and in the bad way, because I have to take so many like beliefs of my mind, like cultural beliefs that kind of like give you limits sometimes. About I have to heal a lot from my youth and my childhood, of my parent divorce, the loss of my auntie, uh, those kind of issues with my self-esteem, because one of the biggest challenge for me was a smile. And maybe this is like something like stupid for people. It's like, hey, Gabby, it's a beauty pageant. Put Vaseline on your teeth and smile. That's easy. But let me tell you, the process as a beauty queen is a lot of like responsibilities here in Venezuela for that time. You have a lot of sponsors responsibility, beauty, photo shootings, commercial taping. You have a lot of events that you have to go as a spokesperson, a lot of humanitarian activities. I was volunteering 3 different hospitals in the time that I was Miss Venezuela. Uh, as I mentioned, I went for 3 months to the US to study English. And when I came back, I have like all the work accumulated. It was a lot of things to do, plus the pressure that I mean, she had to do the best. I mean, she's Venezuela, she doesn't have the fears. She doesn't have the, so all the people was like pushing to me to become someone that I was not. And that created a struggle in my head, in my mind, in my soul. And I had to, as I mentioned, go deep in my feelings. And it was a discovery process for me that actually I'm talking in my first book, by the way. Because I discovered that to smile, I had to heal many things. And thinking in something that actually give me light, give me inspiration, give me joy. In that time, I was thinking in my niece, Ana Paula, and she was always like, Auntie, you have to pose like this. When you do the kiss, you need to do like this. And it was like, oh, how is she doing all of this? And I don't have the glam to do that. So it was a discovery process for me, where I allowed myself to be funny, to be playful, and to actually get out of my comfort zone, that I was very straightforward, that I was very square. It's like, I'm very correct, I'm very professional, I'm very perfectionist, and that it doesn't fit when you have to show yourself. So breaking the barriers that I have in my mind was a challenge. But I work with Grace Fontecha. I don't know if you know her. She's a Puerto Rican pageant coach. She trained Diana, she trained Stefania. She is amazing. And with her, I learned so many things. I learned how to smile from my soul. I learned how to be like sassy. I learned how to be, like that Venezuelan personality that have charisma, and all of that I have it on me. But it was like sleeping in my head. So my transformation during Miss Venezuela, people can see. If you look in Google a video as Miss Guarico, and you compare how I speak when I was Miss Guarico and then when I was Miss Universe, it's 2 different women.
Actually, that's
and
true.
For me,
Now that you have mentioned that one, actually, because I have to be very honest. You know, when I was watching Miss Venezuela and when I was following Miss Venezuela, and with my very limited understanding of the Spanish language, because I didn't really understand what was going on during the road to the crown, I did not really notice you, because we always notice those who are like, the diva, the Alice, for example, and they are not diva, but those who are really so glammed up and always visible during events and special awards. Elian is wow, crazy. I met her here in Tokyo. So we did not really, I personally did not, I don't know about Drew, okay? Because maybe Drew
Mm.
noticed you already. But in my case,
After you, I'll give my opinion.
yeah. Because in my case, I did not. So, but I have to admit that during the Miss Venezuela live telecast itself, when I watched the pageant, I was like, oh my goodness, this looks like someone that I was not even in my radar is going to win this, because you were just like zooming up, climbing, your momentum was really improving when it really mattered. And during the Q&A, even though I did not understand Spanish, I was like, wait a minute, she sounds smart. The way you answered, the way you actually like
The confidence, the
the
confidence.
confidence. Yeah, it's like, it's so you were different, Miss Venezuela, because to me you are more structured. You are like,
Yeah.
of course, maybe you were able to break that one when you competed at Miss Universe, because at Miss Universe is totally different competition. But at Miss Venezuela, you were this like really structured, composed woman who really knew herself, which I did
Composed.
not notice at the very beginning, but I was able to appreciate later on when they chose you as the Miss Venezuela. And I was like, gosh, why come I didn't even notice this woman? But yeah, it was a surprise. But at the same time, being a pageant fan myself, I love pleasant surprises. When someone wins out of nowhere that I didn't even expect, and then I realized, wow, this is the reason why I love beauty pageants, because you
Mhm.
see some women just come out of nowhere, winning everything. And to make the long story short, we went to Miss Universe. But we will talk about that later on.
Yeah. To me, I remember during that Miss Venezuela edition, Molly was one of my favorites. But the moment I realized that she was gonna win was when she was awarded Miss Elegancia.
Miss Elegance, yeah.
Yes, because I've always back then I've always been looking for that one elegant girl on stage, and I felt that when you went out in the white gown during the finals, you were so elegant, and I even before the Q&A, I knew that it was gonna be you.
It was so
Yeah.
different because you have your hair like all back here.
Well, I think as you mentioned, I was not the type of girl that keeps the attention of the
Mhm.
fans during the time as a contestant, as a Miss Guarico. There were so many girls like Alice Henrich.
Alice
I
was
was
very popular.
Guarico, she was Falcon, so G and F, we were like always together. And she was like all the hair and
Yes.
all the turns. And I was like, can you please stay calm? And she's like, no, you need to like energy and give me peace and I give you energy. I was like, okay, so we create a balance, but I remember that as you mentioned, it was one day at a time. I worked very hard. I pushed myself, proved myself that I was capable, and I literally turned off the volume of all those that doesn't believe in me,
Mhm.
and I went to my designer place and I said, I want a white gown. I want to look different. I don't want like glitz and sparkle
Mhm.
and no. That's not for me. I want like a very sophisticated, clean dress that represents my personality that is very structured, as you mentioned, Stefan. So that dress actually was a decision of both of us. She said, what color do you want to dress? And I said, white. It represents my serenity, my calmness, my personality. And that dress is actually, I don't know what happened with the dress. I haven't seen him anymore. I think it gets messed up, but that dress bring me a lot of beautiful memories because it represents me and
Mhm.
actually give me the opportunity to show in the final competition, hey, I'm here. So the gown didn't carry me. I carry my mom and the gown, and And I don't know, I feel like a princess in the time, and I think that like that helped to see the people can see me in a different perspective that day.
It was a very iconic gown, I have to say, because, for example, I follow so many beauty pageants, but I don't easily recall which gown a former Miss Venezuela wore during her national final. But I could still remember that white gown that you wore. You know, when you say Miss Venezuela 2012, you know, the white gown. And I don't remember the gown of Diana when she won Miss Venezuela, or even the recent ones, but I still remember yours because that is really very memorable, you know?
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and
Thanks for that
it's
kind
nice to
word. I
know.
appreciate it.
Yeah, it's nice to know that you had input with regards to what gown you're going to wear. Is it the same for all the candidates in Miss Venezuela?
Do you have the
Well,
choice
for
to?
time, yeah, they in my time they give us the like a card, and you open the
Mhm.
card as a gift, and it say the designer name. So I opened my card and it say Johnny Stracha, and I was like, oh
Mhm.
my god, this is amazing! I love him. I love his style. So they give me like a freedom actually to
Ah,
pick whatever I want. In my case, nobody, they just ask me, which color are you gonna dress? And I said, well, white. Okay, that's fine. So all the decision about the gown was between the designer and myself,
mm.
because and you can see it. It's like it's not anything.
It was
It's
not
so
sparkly or
simple.
glittery. Yeah, it's
No.
really very, very elegant royal gown. You know, it's fit
A
for a
very
royal family.
Yeah. So, but I think all the girls have that kind of freedom at the time and now as well. But when the organization sees something that a color that maybe doesn't fit with your color skin or with your complexion, they usually give a red flag and they say, listen, maybe this is not for you. But in my case, white, it was a yes for me. So they give me freedom.
Yeah, and now that we're already talking about your winning moment, so before I move forward, do you still remember the first time that you met Osmel Sosa?
Yeah, of course. Well,
Uh,
I didn't meet him that first time, but actually it was the day that I decided to go to the Miss Venezuela organization for the casting. The day before,
mhm,
I was in the 25th anniversary runway show, Angel Sanchez runway show, which it was my dream come true. It was I was walking uh, one of the for one of the most recognized designer in my country. So I remember that he was on first row to my right, and I was
Uh,
like, oh my god, okay. Well, Gabby, this is not your moment. It's tomorrow, so don't get panic. But I remember that I went to my first casting. I had a brown swimwear with my number. Um, I have a friend that did all my makeup and my hair to look like a pageant girl. And he was on the table with the different judges for the casting. And you know how it's him. He's always like very few words, a lot of saying yes. He's very observator with all the girls. But for the first, I mean, for that first time, it was not too much conversation. It was more about like
mhm.
observing, like staring at you, your legs, everything. So you feel like, oh my God, naming a lot. But yeah, that was the first time.
maybe she already he. I'm sorry. Maybe he already like put you on his memo, like this girl, like
I don't
This girl
know.
has something.
this.
I was so nervous that I didn't feel any feeling that moment. I was like, okay, I just what I should do here, like go to your
Mm.
right, go to your left. Like I literally want to like walk away because I didn't feel confident. So when you do not feel confident, you just want to like
You just want it
go.
to be over, like
Uh,
Oh,
done.
so when they call me, hey, listen, you're selected. I was like, no, I have to finish my college. I'm sorry, it's not the right time for me. No, no worries. We're gonna give you the permission to go to do your test and final. You know, okay. But yes, it was it was a simple experience the first time. Yeah.
And I'm curious to know how hands-on is Osmel when it comes to the training of the winners of Miss Venezuela.
Or
I'm
in the
sorry.
meaning,
Uh,
how involved
how involved is
Osmel's
Osmel in the training of Miss Venezuela winners?
Well, I think it will depend. As I mentioned, I'm not a beauty pageant fan from the beginning. So my
Mhm.
first experience, I can just talk about my own experience.
Yep.
And in my case, as I mentioned, I won on August 30th. I traveled in December to the US to study English. I came back to Venezuela on March. So my training was from March to September, that period of time. And he was just checking that I went to the organization, to the La Quinta, the house, to go to my classes. He was checking if I, when I do my makeup classes, like how I look. If he doesn't feel confident with a look for me, he changed the makeup artist, and I said, I want for you to take another class with another person, just to make sure that you have the right look. But in my case, it was more about I was so pushing to get better in so many ways that I was like on top of my professors. Like, listen, when we have the next class, I want to learn this, this, and this. I saw YouTube 10 Miss Universe from the past, and I see that this girl do this and this girl do that. So I literally write, and I have those papers here. I paint or I draw the Miss Universe venues for the past 7 years, all the stairs, the seconds before the girls come out to the camera, how many seconds they walked to that camera from the front for the main view, how many seconds they have to pose, is if he was a turn, I mean, everything. I was so structured about my training. And when they gave me the opportunity to work with Grace Fontecha from Puerto Rico, that changed my life forever. I'm not the same person before I met her and after. Like literally, I'm not. My husband told me, listen, since when you speak too much? Like you were not like that. When? When did that happen, you know? And I remember that he just came to the, maybe like at the final, at the end of the week to check my evolution or to check what I'm doing. And I think it's something that usually people do, like from different generations, like, no, that's not enough. You need more turns, or you need to move your arms. No, that's not enough. And it was never enough for him. So I was frustrated. I was like, what else I have to do to be enough for him? And I realized at the end of a couple months, after 3 months of training, that I just have to be enough for myself and for me. And I have to heal a lot of those voices, not just, I mean, a lot of people. It was not confident about my participation, my um, my role or my
chances in Miss Universe.
performance as a Miss Venezuela. And those comments always like push me back. You're not enough, you're not enough, you're not enough. And it was like, I'm sorry, I am enough. And I believe in myself. I know that I'm going to do better. And I'm not playing games because I'm not going to travel to Moscow, Russia to play games. I'm not going to go just to travel and do a touristic visit. I'm going to like put my country name here. So, okay, so I just like stay quiet, do all my training. A lot of people have complaints. And the first day that I arrived to Moscow, I put my blue dress and I say, I'm here. Good morning, Moscow. And the rest is story.
Well, now that you have mentioned that, Gabriela, it's quite interesting as well, because now I'm trying to recall those days leading to Moscow, because I also remember that aside from you, also Miss Philippines had the same experience. People did not really believe in her before she went to Russia, and in your case, I think it has something to do with the fact that you were an underdog winning Miss Venezuela. So people will always not feel contented, and they will always find something wrong with you, even though you have already done something, you've already done your best. I think that's the one of the disadvantages of being the representative of pageant crazy countries like Venezuela, Philippines, even Colombia, all those countries would have solid pageant fans. So you really did feel those negative comments or criticisms against you before you went to Moscow.
Yeah, and my mom could say it. She's my everything, and I remember the times that were very difficult for me. By the time that I compete Miss Venezuela, didn't have like a consult, a psychologist like established there for you all day every time. And I remember that I call Irene. I say, listen, do you have any coach or any psychologist or anybody that can help me? Because this is not okay. Like my mind, it doesn't have the focus to continue my training. I cannot deal with the bullying, with the cyber attack, with the daily criticism, with the negativity of the people. Like how you deal with this? Like I can't, because I don't have the tools. So part of my training, well, a couple says, just going back to my mom topic, I say, Mommy, I want to quit. Like, this is not for me. This is so wrong. Like, this world is like so cold. People doesn't have feeling, sensibility. They're like so rude. And I'm not like that. You can see people talk big about me and I stay quiet because I'm a lady. I do not fight with those people because I know my past, I know my actions, I know my value. And those who want to talk, go ahead. And I say to my mom, I want to quit. And she was like, if you want to do, I'm gonna like stay with you and do it. But after I say, you know what, I'm gonna give you that taste. No, I'm not gonna do it. So part of my training in Miss Venezuela before Miss Universe, I took meditation classes. I contact this coach who like Mariana, she helped me a lot. I took classes with one of the teachers that is now working with Miss Venezuela, Eduardo. He taught me about how to control my emotional scale and how to balance that. And it was not a beauty pageant training. It was not runway. It was not makeup and hair. No, it was a deep spiritual journey for me. So now I hear all the people that doesn't like me or doesn't stand with my values or stand with my decisions, and it's a free world. But in my heart, I'm okay.
What do you think was the worst criticism that you read online or you just heard, which just made you feel like this is enough is enough?
Well, I have I have read a lot of things. People, I mean, it's people that tell me sometimes, I hope you die someday. You are this, or you, I mean, I cannot remember the word in English, but in Spanish, they're very, very rude. The past 2 years, even more, which is like, whoa, I don't understand, but okay.
I remember photos of Irene as well. Like they were bullying Irene with her before and after photos, like with her teeth and smile, and then it's crazy.
They start pulling pictures of me. Well, in my 15 or something, and they say you have surgery, and they put like they do Photoshop in my nose and Photoshop everything in my face, and I was like, I do not. And I'm sorry to do not please those who believe that I have all surgery in my face. I don't have. And a lot of people, you look like a transgender. That was like a very common comment for me. You look like a man. You're not feminine. You're not like, this is not for you. You're not the representative that we are usually get used. And most of the people told me that I was gray, the color gray, because it was so like nothing. I didn't give them excitement because I was not that crazy girl. So I was like even dotting. I was even
Yeah.
thinking about myself, like what I'm doing wrong. It's like, should I change the way I am? What should I do? So it was a lot of criticism in this world, and you know it better in the Philippines. They're very fans, and you guys defend your girls well. But now it's kind of like a wave or people that love to talk in bad way. I don't know.
I think a lot of those bullies online, they eventually matured now. And we have a new generation of bullies. Is like, like they
Yeah,
just kept on
very
replenishing every year. But
yeah.
maybe the bullies of your time are now the more mature and level-headed supporters of beauty pageants. So yeah,
Yeah, the
it's really
thing that
sad to hear.
yeah, but the good thing is a lot of the haters that once like told me bad things after I won Miss Universe, they told me, I apologize with you. I
Mhm.
never should tell you this. Sorry because I didn't believe that you were capable. You're proving yourself that you are this. And that's life that is taking care of those people. But I think for me, I take everything as a learning and as an experience for my internal growth. So it was a challenge, but we overcome all of that.
So aside from your mom, who was basically your source of strength during those times when you were already started to doubt yourself and when you were feeling low?
My husband. Yes, actually, we started a relationship on 2011, a year before I was competing Miss Venezuela. And he was with me the day that I received the call about the confirmation of my participation in the pageant. And he was with me all the way. He went every weekend to Caracas to visit me. When I was sad, he was with me. When I was crying, he was with me. At the end of the events, he was with me. And I remember that I was so tired one night. We had one of the galas, and we were in a restaurant, and I started doing this. It was a lash. Yeah, what are you doing? I was nothing. I was doing this. It was my hair. And I started like removing everything. And he looked like under the tables, and I removed my shoes. And he was like, that's the one that I love. I mean, I love you with no makeup, with any of this that you have. And he's very supportive in all the craziness that I want to do. And he always give me strength. And the most valuable things is here.
Uh,
He always told me is that I should not put any limits in my mind or in my aspirations. And he always remind me that I'm capable to do everything that I want. So having a person on your side that is cheering for you, that is not minimizing your achievements, that is not minimizing your goals. I think that's very powerful. And that speaks about true love. And a lot of girls right now doesn't understand that, but for me it was very valuable. And now he is my husband. That's it.
yes, I know. Like, I'm so happy to actually like know about your story because I've been checking your Instagram, been following you, and it's like you your guy stood up with you all throughout these years, and you also stood up with him all these years. But not so many beauty queens actually have succeeded in that one, because after they have won the national pageant and after winning the international pageant, it seems that they have forgotten the guy or the man who actually supported them all throughout. But in your case, you didn't. It got even stronger and stronger. So I think a lot of beauty queens should learn from you. Because that's not the case in many beauty pageant winners nowadays. Like, behind the success of a beauty
Do you
queen.
hear me? That I
Yeah, I
think
can
you
hear
get
you.
froze.
I can hear you. Behind the success of a beauty queen is a man who has been there supporting, and that's your husband now.
Yes. Do you hear me? That
Yes,
because
I
it
do. I
got
do.
froze. Do you hear
I
me
can hear
fine?
you. I can hear you.
I
And
can
your
hear you
Yes.
voice,
now.
you did not freeze. You did not freeze from
Well,
inside.
I oh, perfect. But yes, I think it's something that I'm not perfect, I have to say. In my relation, it's not a perfect relation. We all have like ups and downs. We all have situations or moments that challenge our tolerance, respect, and the love that we have each other. But the only thing that I'm confident about it is that what I have is true, and I respect myself and I respect my relationship. And if I can show something, or if somebody wants to learn something about my relationship, I would say that is being the consistency and and being coherent with your feelings, with your with your emotions, and honestly doesn't just focus on your goals as a woman, because sometimes there are so many things that happen that give your change your impressions, or you change your plans, and sometimes it's not true love.
Mm. What is the best quality of your husband?
He make me laugh.
I think
He's a
ano,
very respectful man.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think it really helped that you have a very strong support system when you were competing in Miss Universe. Like you had your mom and your family, and you have your man behind you, because they zone out all the negative comments and just hear words from those people that really matter to you.
Mm. And you
Yeah,
still,
as I mentioned, you have someone that doesn't minimize your dreams, your
Yeah,
aspirations.
yeah.
That's that's amazing.
yeah.
And it's
And
really very
now,
difficult to date a Miss Universe, but your husband managed to do it. And with your very busy schedule, that's what I meant, very, very understanding guy, I suppose, one lucky
yeah,
guy.
Yes, yes. He was the night that I was crowned Miss Universe. He was there in Moscow for me.
Mhm.
He was the night of Miss Venezuela, and I remember the night I won uh, Miss Universe. He was there, like crying for me and sad that like maybe I was changing my minds or my goals. And he said, maybe I can lost you. I don't know what's gonna happen. So I think we get stronger, and every time that I could, we fly to see each other's, and yeah, it's just true love,
It is.
and you need to be, you know,
And
distant.
it gives hope to beauty
mhm,
pageant winners, to believe in it, because sometimes they just give up. Sometimes, I'm not saying all, but it's sometimes it's really very discouraging. And there are sometimes, even in beauty pageants, there are questions: if you are to choose between the crown or your love life, which would you choose? Like maybe the answer now is different because it's
That's not a yeah, that's not a decision that you have to make. Yeah, you don't have to sacrifice any of your dreams or anything that represent your passion because someone doesn't allow you to dream big. That's because they say if that person pushes you to make that decision, is actually questioning your capabilities and questioning your worth as a woman. So maybe that's not the right person for you. Maybe it's not the right time for you guys a relationship.
someone should actually take note of your answer, and they should use that in a beauty pageant once they ask that same question.
yes,
But I
I
do agree
agree.
with you. Yeah, love life, if it's a love life that actually limits your potential, then yeah, that's really questionable. It should be something which is really very healthy and supportive of each other.
Yeah, and
It's true.
at this point, I want to shift gears a little and to talk about your journey in Miss Universe in Moscow. So I remember in one of the recent interviews of Miss Philippines, she said that you were almost at the same, you arrived almost at the same time in Moscow. And she said that when you arrived and you were with your hat and your like a pantsuit, and she said that at the moment she thought that you were the owner of the hotel because you were so elegant, you were so queenly when you arrived in Moscow.
Wow, I, I, I didn't know that. But actually, not many people know. I arrive at night. I remember
Yes.
that I have a burgundy jacket with a pink and black scarf, and I had it was a burgundy pant with a black turtleneck and like high heel boots. But it was
Mhm.
like very late, and I was like with my bag and like, you know,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't travel to play games. So I was in my diva moment, like a humble diva moment, you know.
Uh-huh.
But I remember there was like late night, like 9 p.m. when I arrived. So I didn't had the chance to meet a lot of girls. So my
Mhm.
first official day was the next morning when I come down with my uh, blue dress, the royal blue coat, and I did all my hair like all the Miss Venezuela look, and that was like a statement look for a lot of my fans. They love that blue dress. They love the angel Giuseppe Zanotti sandals.
Yeah.
They love the look. So that day was like the day that I arrived to say, everybody, here is Venezuela, and I'm here to do my best.
Mhm.
Did you feel that
And
you were the favorite when you arrived? Did it already start to, or you're just like so
No,
overwhelmed by the beginning of your Russian
no,
experience?
I think my my strength was so on point. My self-esteem was better than ever. My expectations were like, this is going to be great. I'm going to enjoy the journey. I'm coming to enjoy the journey. And I never went believing that I was favorite or nothing. Nobody in my country believed in in my participation. And I was not a fan. I was not the favorite of any bets in the world.
Mm.
So my first day was more about proving myself, like, hey, I'm here. When the day passed, second day, third day, I started reading the news, and it was like Venezuela is one of the favorites, and it was like, wow, that was. I think when people say that about you, you even have more pressure than before. That
Mm.
pressure I didn't have it in the Miss Venezuela because there was not expectations about me. You listen? Are
Yeah,
you
yes, of
here?
course. We could hear you, totally hear you. Yeah.
So it was very different. Venezuela, no expectations like from anybody to myself. Miss Universe, it was increasing every day, and I was like, wow. So a lot of the girls started looking at me as like, she's, you know, like she's the she's gonna come. She came to win. So I was like trying to be myself. Like, hey, I'm not. I maybe look like, you know, like, but I'm nice. I'm a friendly person. And I usually every day I try to switch tables, and I switch with the European, and I sit with the Asians, and I sit with the Latinas,
Mhm.
and I try to make friends and to know about the cultures, and try to not hear about that kind of pressure, and just focus in my
Mhm.
work and focus and do my best every day.
Who were
Drew,
your
Drew,
closest friends during the competition?
Uh, well, you can see in all the pictures, Patricia
Uh-huh.
and Connie from Ecuador, we were like always together. Patrick,
top
Connie,
three.
Gabby. I spent a lot of time with Ariela as well,
Uh-huh.
with Ari. She was so sweet, and but it was always like, oh my God, Venezuela, and it was like, oh my God, Philippines. You know, like you guys always win also. So but it was usually Patri and Connie from
Connie.
Ecuador, Lucia from Colombia. She was
Mhm.
super sweet and she was very nice. And I have a lot of friends because my mom gave me this medical kit if I
Mhm.
have headache, stomach ache, band-aids. So I was the nursery in the Miss Universe.
Didn't know
Came
that.
to my room, Gabby, do you have something for drug? Yes, I have. So I gave them the, Gabby, do you have something for the cold? Yes, I have. So I gave them all of that. And it was fun. I travel with a lot of things that I didn't need. So when the
Mhm.
girls need a pair of shoes, a pair of earrings, a dress, I remember Croatia, she didn't have the dress for I think it was the prelims. And I gave her one of the Johnny Straccia dresses for the night.
Oh,
That's sweet.
Yeah.
this is a
Oh,
nice
there was many.
gesture.
I don't even in touch as much as I would, but Patri definitely and Connie.
The
Yeah, and
two
who
of
would
you.
have thought the three of you will be the last three
I'm like
standing?
the last three in the
Yeah,
finals. I wasn't expecting much about Ecuador. Patricia, yes, somehow I saw her there, but yes, Ecuador was a surprise as well during the pageant night.
She was looking beautiful. The aqua
She's
color
really
of her dress, the tanning, like the color skin that, I mean, she was, I think from Ecuador, she has been one of the most beautiful representative in the past years. She did an impeccable job. Her body was wow, like all
yeah, I
fit.
agree.
Like she have all the square, like the stack here. Wow, she was not she did amazing and she's doing great. I think she's one of like celebrities in Ecuador right now.
Yeah, she is like the most successful Miss Ecuador at Miss Universe in recent memory, or probably in history. So I'm not surprised if
Yeah,
she's really doing really well there.
And now, at this
yeah.
point, I would like to mention that earlier you said that you didn't feel like you were a favorite. But as a pageant fan myself, I think the turning point in your journey in Miss Universe was during the Tony Ward fashion show. And you were one of the most talked about candidates after that fashion show. Because I think that was the moment that your modeling skills and your pageantry training just combined, and you were impeccable on stage at that time.
Yeah, well, actually, that day was one of my favorites during the
Mhm.
whole competition because because it is something that I love is the runway. For me, it's like I am in my element. I love it and I enjoy myself in the runway. So I remember that they changed all everyone's hair, etc. And I have these three dresses, black, blue, and red, like all very strong colors. And I model since I am 14 years old, as I mentioned. So I say, okay, I cannot look like a pageant girl here because this is a runway. This is a
Mhm.
Mercedes-Benz fashion show. So I need to show myself like a fashion top model, like a high-end top model. And I was like, okay, Gabby, put your switch, go. And I like literally, boom, transform myself. And this is something that people usually make fun about me. And it's like, hey, Gabby, you want to look, when you want to look like pretty and stuff, you can do it. But when you want to switch and like up the volume to look like fierce, and you can do it. So I think I have that ability. And that show, it was for me like, okay, Gabby, this could be for you. It's like all like literally explode that day. All the pageant fans accounts, the Las
Mhm.
Vegas bets, because I understood that it's people that actually put money for winners in some website or
Mhm.
something. I was not aware of that. And they told me, Gabby, you're winning the bets, the things that happen in Vegas. I was like, what is that? It's like, yes, you're winning in
Mhm.
the websites that love beauty pageants, and it was a very surprise, like a huge surprise for me, but very grateful as well.
Yeah, and I remember during that time that most pageant fans they count how many times a girl walks out on the fashion show. So when you walked out three times in three different dresses, we were like, "Oh my God, she's one of the biggest favorites here."
Really, I was not aware of
Yeah,
that. I know that other girls have three dresses, other have another
I
maybe
think
have
the other girls have only two or one.
two.
Yeah.
I was not aware. Right? You know something that I didn't.
When you are competing, sometimes you don't even think about that one, right? But
Yes.
fans have a magnifying glass. They like it's like microscopic. They see
Telling
things
you.
differently. We see
The
things
other,
differently.
the other day I was talking with a friend. He handled MB La Nueva Era, is another beauty pageant website. And I said, you need to give me a Missosology course 2.0. like Missosology for dumb is like how you guys perceive the beauty pageant industry is from the passion, from the
Mhm.
details. It's such a magnificent perspective because you guys adore this world and you see things that actually we do not, and you guys value things that we are not aware of, like wow, they
Mhm.
remember this, they know this. So I applaud your commitment and your passion for this because not all the people have it.
Yeah, it's just like
Thank
sports
you.
fans, you know. Without the sports fans, sporting events would be
Yeah,
meaningless. And in pageants, we have Missosology, like who is keeps on feeding and feeding people with all the information just to keep everyone on the loop and make people glued into the various pageants that we are covering, that we are following, and you know that we are analyzing. Not all the time we are correct, but that's what makes the pageant world more interesting and worth
yeah.
following. You know, it takes passion and commitment. That's true.
And you guys do an impeccable job, and that is one of the reasons because you guys are recognized in Asia and the rest of the country as one of the main beauty pageant accounts now in this new social media era. So I respect the job that you guys do, but I want to learn because now being part of this world
Yeah.
as a
Mhm.
director is like I need to those details, you know, just to perceive things and in the way that you guys perceive it. But
Mhm.
I will need a curse for that, like
Well,
apology is 2.0. I don't know.
I think it changes through time because, now, for example, nowadays we have the social media, so information is more transparent. If I say it right, it's that we have
Mhm.
more flow information nowadays with Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, and even YouTube and TikTok. So, well, Snapchats. Back in 2013, I think mostly we only have like the website and then the Missosology forum, wherein we have all the chit chats and gossips there. Forums, forums, the forum was like the foundation. You know, if people do not probably understand the essence of a forum these days, but back then it was like the really the everything that.
Magic. It was the magic. I remember that I met I didn't met, I virtually met the owner of one of the largest beauty pageant forums in Venezuela. And when I was studying English, I sent him a chocolate bar, like an orange chocolate bar, and a picture like sign, and he still have it. And I recognize at that time in 2012 the importance and the valuable of their work in those
Mhm.
forums because beauty pageant is nothing without a community that support.
That's true. Yeah.
So
Sometimes it's really very hard to control as well because we were like back then in 2013 we were moderator of the forum and we had to control the racism, the really very bad
that's
words that they are using. Like for example in 2013 especially there's just too much racism going on in the pageant world. And for example
yeah.
Miss Israel, who was black, she was being like, you know, racially discriminated in some by some members. So it was very tough job for both Drew and me. You know, 2013 was like really the peak of one of the peak moments of my pageant analysis years because I was so active doing so many things that year. Like the hot picks, the who will win, who stood out in the glacier fashion show whatever of Russia. We even called them the ice queens, you know, like I remember those 7 years ago,
The
man.
the swimwear shoot, the ice
Yeah,
creams.
that was it was called the Ice Princess. Yeah, that was something like
Yes,
that.
ice princess.
Yeah, we had a ranking
Ice
of
Princess.
that one. It's crazy. I don't know. I think Gabriela was like in the top three or something in that category. We just did whatever, you know, just to make people talk about pageant and everything. Those articles went viral and people were reading it.
You guys give adrenaline to the people. They love it, and I think you guys have a big responsibility right now. Now that the social media is going like very accelerate. I mean, it's always a step ahead of us. So you guys have that responsibility to create a community where respect, tolerance, and opportunities are for everyone. So you guys have a big job right now to do, and I appreciate that you guys find this kind of like moment to this type of interviews, so girls and even fans can see that it's always about respect, respecting the opinions, respecting the work of others, and giving the real value, because this is a real time job. You put a
That's
lot of
good.
time and effort, as
Yeah.
well as the contestants. So sometimes people talk without any idea of what we are putting on as an effort. But yes.
Yeah, although I am semi-retired as a pageant analyst because I now work with the Miss International organization and I'm now much busier emailing people like you, Gabriela. So,
I was
but
working
I
in
miss
modeling
those
before,
moments.
but responding email.
It's okay. Like I really miss those moments when I was following everyone and just analyzing you know, but I was not being rude to the girls.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
know,
I
but you're
have
still
three
doing. You're
sisters.
doing not a fan.
But there's still the fan in me, you know, and the pageant
Of
analyst in
course,
it's still there. It's
it's still there, and not even because you are from the Philippines,
yeah, it's because probably because I'm from the Philippines. It's
but that's on your blood. You can't
it's
deny.
in a blood. I know. Yeah,
Yeah, and now, yeah,
Drew, I
now
think you have one
I want to
interesting
go.
question.
Yeah, I want to go back to the 23rd Miss Universe 2013. So, uh, one very interesting moment was during the announcement of winner.
I want
And
to
there
know
was
about
like
that.
a few seconds of pause before you realized that you were actually Miss Universe 2013. So can you take us back to that interesting moment?
Well, let me tell you something before. When I
Mm-hmm.
was doing my training in Venezuela before traveling to Moscow, I was doing like massage and like visiting aesthetic to like do all the body treatments, etc. And one of the receptionists came with a letter. He told me, just read it when you get home. And I was like, what is this? Okay. So I think he have a gift to predict the future or something. So he told me, be careful with the brunette women from Europe. I think she's going to be your roommate, and it is possible that it's Spain. And I was like, well, he told me, be careful with the stairs because you can fall if you don't pay attention. And I was like, okay,
Oh
well,
my
yeah,
God, Gabriela, yeah, the preliminary.
yeah. So, and from on the list that he write for me, he put me, it is gonna happen something with the electricity of the sound, or maybe the sound that you're not gonna hear, and the electricity or the sound is gonna turn off in one of the most important moments of your pageant.
Oh
I mean,
wow.
it was like a 20 things that he wrote, but I remember those three because I was so like alert every time that I see stairs. I was like, okay, hold it, Gabby. Like, like stay put, Gabby. So at Spain, the first day, it was like, oh, well, check one. Well, okay, one. When I almost fall on the preliminaries, it was like, oh my God, check two.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay. But I was not aware about the sound issue. So when Thomas Roberts say the announcement that year, they changed the order and they announced first the
The
Miss
winner.
Universe, and then the finalist is
Uh-huh.
usually first. Runner up is yeah, 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 and the winner is. That year it was the opposite, and as I am not a beauty pageant fan and lover, and I was not aware of those details. And listen, nobody here. That moment, I think that the sound just turned off. Everybody was like, what happened? I remember all the Philippines crowd
Oh.
are cheering for me. Venezuela. I was like, yeah. So all the crowd was like, what is happening? And I remember that I just looked back and forth and I say to Patrick, I don't know. Like, I love you. I think you win. And she was like, I don't know what's happening. Me neither do I. So I
Mhm.
was like hugging her. It's like, I'm so proud of you. I love you. And when I see Olivia, when I saw Olivia coming with the flower, with the flower, well, with the crown and the girl with the flowers,
Oh.
like, what the hell? It's like, it's me. And you see me that I say, oh my God. And it was, I think I love the moment because so many girls dream about this and dream about how they're gonna like put their hands if they win and how they're gonna like, for me, it was the most authentic moment in my life when you see my personality, when you see me like jumping and
Yes.
wow, it was a surprise for me. And it was the start from like the start of a dream. It was actually like, wake up, Gabby, it's for you, and you did it. And I remember the first thing I say is when I say to the people, it's like, I told you. It's like, yo lo dije, I am the winner. And I wrote it on my agenda. I put, I visualize myself as the seventh beauty queen from my country winning Miss Universe. This is for me, and I signed. So I have the note where I wrote a statement about my winning.
Yeah, it's it was a very
Really
it was a
touching.
very awkward, but it was iconic moment as well because of your reaction. I even have like a GIF of that when you were doing it. It's like
Yes.
Yes, yes, it is. And you see the difference between Venezuela and Miss Universe. It's like it was truly a joy for me. It's like, oh my God, everything I did worth it. I'm here, and my English was so bad, and I didn't care. I was giving interviews. I was just living my dream that night, and as you mentioned, I think nobody will forget that announcement. It's very iconic.
we have stickers for that one, like mobile stickers of your
I have to.
Yeah. Before I move forward to talk more about your reign, I just want to ask, what was the story behind the change of the gown? Because you had a different prelims gown, and then you wore the white gown in the final. So what was the decision? How did you come up with the decision to wear the white gown for the finals?
aside from the fact that you probably I think one of the reasons is because you might fall again on that old gown that you wore in the preliminaries. You really struggled on that one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well, I'm
Mhm.
trying to find a picture. Nobody have seen this right now. This is my quarantine time.
That one, yeah.
I tried to see if I still fit here. But I don't know how I walk in that dress.
It was heavy, was it?
It's 18 kilos.
Oh god.
What is it, like 40 pounds?
18
35
kilos,
pounds?
yeah. Mariam wore a 19-kilo gown.
Horrible. And I remember what happened is a lot of people think or believe that, oh, she didn't like the dress or she, no. The thing is, when I arrived to Moscow, my weight was 58 kilos. By the time that the final night, I lost almost 4 kilos, almost 8 pounds.
Mhm.
So the dress was so heavy
Mhm.
that the structure that was holding here on the like the corset of the dress, it was like super tight, so I can keep the dress didn't fall. So when I tried for the prelims, it was so loose that the dress is supposed
Start-
to be here and it fall. So it was even longer. And when I walk, I was like it was too heavy. It was so uncomfortable for me to walk. And I say to the team, to the Miss Venezuela team that I was there in Moscow, listen, you want the dress to shine or you want me to shine? Because the dress have a lot of sparkles. It is made for the scenario and it's impeccable. It's beautiful. I love the dress. But this time I need to pick, or is a dress or is me. And I remember that they told me, Miss Venezuela, you always carry a dress. The dress never carried the Miss Venezuela. Something like that in English. And I was like, I can't. So at this time, the dress is literally like falling. So I made, and we after as a team made the decision to switch it. And it was like, if you feel comfortable, if you think that it's going to be a better performance for you and you're going to feel free, because one of my strengths was the runway, and being in the runway and not able to shine and like present myself as I want, it was not an option for me. I work really hard to enjoy the 30 seconds that I have on the screen. As you know, I write all the seconds and the scenarios. So I was like, nobody's gonna take me this. So we make the decision to switch the dress, and I think it was the most wise and the most perfect decision at the time. Yeah.
I have to be very honest. I prefer the final gown than the preliminaries. The preliminary gown is beautiful, I know, but when I saw you struggling with that dress, I think it's the same story with Miss Great Britain as well. I think she also struggled with her preliminary gown, that she also decided to go back to the red one that she wore during the photo shoot. So yeah, we were also hoping that Miss Philippines was going to change her yellow gown, but she didn't. But that's a different story. But I think changing of evening gowns have been, I don't know, was it a trend? Because Irene also changed her gown during the finals. She was wearing a black gown in the preliminary, and then she changed into the green gown in the finals. So it's not something new.
No, I think it depends of the strategy of the team behind the national directors, but most of the time depends of the contestant. I think we realize that it is our moment, and it's not about the dress, it's about ourselves. So we have to be like rude and say, listen, this is what I feel comfortable, this is what I want. And I think it depends a lot of the contestant in the beauty pageant title holder to be honest with herself and make, the better decision.
That was a really beautiful gown in the finals, Molly. I really loved it. It's perfect. You have long arms, and it's just perfect. Not so many women could actually wear that beautifully and elegantly in the same way you did.
That dress have a open skirt, and I remember like the day before traveling to Moscow, we say to the designer Alejandro Fajardo, like, can you close this because it would look more elegant? So we literally packed the dress the day that I was flying to Moscow, and it's super light. It's not even 5 kilos. So for me, it was the heaven. I was like floating in my dress.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you have a very iconic walk as well. I think it's your here in Japan, whenever there are girls who are aspiring to become beauty queens, I always use your video as a sample, because it's just the way you move your arms, which is, I don't know, like maybe it's genetic, maybe it's just your nature. It's just so beautiful.
Thank you. But I have the runway since I was a girl, but the training that I had with Grace Fontecha, we work a lot on my shoulders and the way that I move my arms, because it's something that allows you to show a personality that is more feminine, more, I don't know, more glamorous, more soft. And that was learned. That's a movement that you actually can teach to your girls.
It's just really really the best videos and samples that I could gather on the internet, and then I always show it to everyone I know. Like this is how you're supposed to walk, you know.
Thank
Look at the
you.
arms, you know.
My mom always trying to see me on the runway back, but you know, fashion weeks, people don't like 32 years old women walking sometimes, but no worries. We're
No,
still happy. No mentira.
still have you still have it.
Yeah. And now I'm curious to know, because we always ask this to all the other beauty queens we interviewed. Which was harder for you, competing in Miss Venezuela or competing in Miss Universe?
You know that answer. I mean, competing for Miss Venezuela was a challenge for me, but as Stefan say, like my expectations were different. It was my first pageant. I was very like naive, I think is the word.
Mhm.
I was trying to be like a sponge and learn and learn and listen and wow, try to live the experiences with the best. And when I went to Miss Universe, it was different. I was aware of my expectations. I was confident about my value. I was ready to compete because a lot of people believe, and I always say this, that is not just a beauty pageant competition. For me, it was a competition for that require resistance, perseverance. I mean, not sleeping for 20 days, more than 2 hours, that's a challenge. And wake up next day with no baggy eyes, like fresh face and looking beautiful. That's not easy. I mean, keep the energy, keep the strength, keep the motivation every day. That's not something that you can hold it if you don't have the tools and the skills. I remember that people usually tell me, Gabby, you will see how girls will fall as a domino pieces during the competition. So many girls arrive like boom, and first week, second week, they're so like falling, you know, because they believe that it's just about beauty, but it's not about beauty. It's about like a job. You're competing for a job, and you have to prove yourself, and you have to prove others, and especially the organization, that you're capable to hold it, to be ready, to be punctual, to take instructions, to be respectful with the team. So there's so many things that I had to be aware when I was competing for Miss Universe, and definitely most difficult than competing for Miss Venezuela. It was more how do you say exigente? Like more needy. I was asking my husband, like, how do you say this? It was more tough. I mean, the competition is more tough. You need to please more people that doesn't know you, and maybe you have 30 seconds to convince them that you are the one, you know? And I was like taking all this 30 seconds, all this 5 seconds just to make a great impression, and not just to make the great impression, to keep it and to hold it and to even make it better until the end. So definitely Miss Universe is a learning experience, but you have to have the capabilities to enjoy the journey, because if you don't have it, you will fall as a domino pieces.
Yeah,
I agree.
it's
And I think,
beauty pageant is really a marathon.
Yeah.
It is.
and I
And
think
you guys know, like when you
Gabriela during her,
schedule for next day, 6 a.m., ready for breakfast.
yes, yeah. And I think
Sorry to
Gabriela, during your during your Miss Universe journey, you were the perfect personification of what of the saying that you should know when to peak, because you don't have to play your cards all the time. Like you know when to be at your best, and you did it during the prelims and the finals.
yes and no. I think it, for me during Miss Universe is always to give my best. I
Mm.
I choose my battles, yes, because sometimes you see maybe tension in the competition, or you see how maybe girls have a different opinion about yourself that you know that it's maybe not true, and you feel tension, and that can affect you. But you pick and choose your battles, and I decide to always be the best of me. And I think that that's what I usually do in everything that I commit myself. Doesn't matter if it's a beauty pageant or not. I always give the best of myself at that moment, because I don't like to go to sleep with any remorse. What happened if, what not? I try to do my best. If it's good for others, okay. And if it's not, at least I did it. I did my best.
Yeah, as a pageant organizer myself, being part of the Miss International organization right now, I can actually say that the whole competition does not only happen during the preliminary judging or in the final night. You know, it starts from the very beginning with the moment you arrive, and you carefully observe the girls. You know, because the one who's going to win is the one who's going to carry the brand name for the whole year. And
Yep.
if you just base everything on their performance in the final night, then you are in a huge mess, because you never know. The most beautiful and the best performer on stage might have the worst attitude. That behind the scene,
Yeah,
as an organizer, you know.
that's yeah, that's something that is not new, and all the girls have to be aware, and even the fans, because sometimes you guys as a fans, as a blogs accounts that support beauty pageants, you guys get crazy about girls that look, wow, look, she's amazing, she's impeccable, look how she walks, she's a diva, because you guys love the show.
The show, yeah.
Then she goes to the pageant and you see her in a competition and you say, wow, maybe no. And sometimes happen that girls that are beautiful don't get to the finals, and you ask why. Because so many girls still do not understand that it's not just about beauty. And this transition of like changing stereotypes, not all the people have been like friendly about it. Not all the people like the idea that it's not just about beauty. But you, being part of the Miss International organization, you realize that you don't want to deal with the diva for 1 year, that she doesn't wake up on time, that you need to like knock your door, hey, listen, we're late. Or you don't want that. And you don't want a girl that maybe tells you, I don't want to do the interview, or play the diva one day. So I think it's about to, I think beauty needs to like change on the way that girls like internalize that they need to train as well their souls,
That's true.
their
Yeah.
mind, and their spirit, and treat others how they want to be treated.
Yeah. Words of wisdom from the Miss Universe herself. Drew, did you freeze, Drew? I'm not sure.
I'm
Drew,
not
knock
Drew,
knock.
but he's here. He's on the list.
Yeah, he's here. Hi, Drew.
Drew, are you there?
Drew, are you there? But well, I don't know. Maybe I'll just continue with the thing. We'll just go back to Drew once he's.
And I think
Are you there? Yes, yes. We can hear you, Drew, but
okay.
you're not moving.
I'm not moving.
Well, now you are frozen, like posing for a Miss Universe ideal shot.
But you can hear me.
Now we can hear you. Yes.
Okay.
Maybe you
So,
should ask Gabriela now about her reign as Miss Universe.
yeah, because I think most pageant fans would agree with me when I say that Gabriela is one of the favorites of most pageant fans, favorite Miss Universe during the decade, because you have done a lot during your reign.
Yes, that's true, Gabriela. Yeah, you have done so many things as Miss Universe. We even thought that you were really a favorite of Donald Trump.
But yes, I think as a beauty pageant title holders, we have a blessing. We have a blessed opportunity to pick our path and to actually establish the way of how we want to be remembered. because when I just arrived to Miss Universe, we have a couple meetings with the team, and I remember that they told me, you know, Gabby, we wanna know you better. What are the things that you feel passionate about it? What you want to do? Are you a singer? Do you like acting? Do you like modeling? Because we want to give you the opportunity to like do do something on during your reign that actually fulfill your passion and your the things that you love. So I told I want to make sure that every country that I visit, I'm able to know the luxury and the beauty and tourism, but I want to actually be aware of the necessities and the reality of those countries or those populations. So every country that I have to travel, I please first, I want to visit a church. Uh, my requirement to visit a church is because you're froze. Are you here?
We couldn't see you. I Now you can see you. Yeah. Now we were
Yeah.
talking about the church that you visit for the country that you visit.
Yeah, I had this too. Let me check my Wi-Fi. Okay. I have the two requirements. One was the church and one was the charity organizations. And it doesn't matter the religion. Even though I'm a Catholic, if I went to Morocco, I visit the mosque. I mean, I loved to first understand the culture and understand their beliefs and
The
respect
state
them.
system,
I
yeah.
think when you know their beliefs and you know what are important for them, you have a better connection and you have a more, I don't know, like a more honest way to connect with those people. So I usually visit a church and then I visit a charity organization. It doesn't matter the cost. It could be a heart transplant, as I visit once, or it could be a home for adults, or it could be I don't know, a school for kids. It doesn't matter the cost. So in every country that I visit, more than 17, 18 countries, I usually did this. I visit both. So this allow me to create a reign, I think, with more value and with more sensibility. And I always think that I was time ahead of my of the time that we're living right now, because on that time people was expecting maybe uh, more modeling
Yeah.
runways or more show or see me more like glamorous, like walking in New York streets, which I could do and I enjoy. But on the other hand, it's more about the legacy that I want to leave. So Miss Universe organization allowed me to actually build that legacy, and uh, they even respect decisions about works or jobs that I did not want to do because they were against to my beliefs or my culture. So I think, and I feel very proud of everything that I did during my reign, because I not just realized that we have the power to give, but when you give a smile, you think that your smile is going to change the world, but it's not. The smile of others, especially in the Philippines, on Palawan, in Quran, they changed my life. It was a before and after trip for me. And from them, I start to be more commitment and more focused about my cause and my purpose during Miss Universe. Because the smile of others, the joy of others, the hope of others literally changed my life. It gave me a lesson of, wow, Gabby, like you need to wake up and you need to use your voice. And that's what I try to do. And sometimes in a big scale, sometimes in a small scale, but I think that we are all inspirations, and if we can use that power not just for us but for others, I think it's more, I don't know, more fulfilling.
Yeah. As a Filipino myself, I cannot speak in behalf of everyone, but as Filipino, I'm so thankful for what you did in the people in Palawan, in helping them rebuild the community after it was devastated by the typhoon. That's really very heartwarming, and thank you so much. Thank you for
Yes.
using the platform of Miss Universe to actually do that, because it also gives more meaning to what beauty pageants are all about. Muchas gracias.
No, it was my pleasure. And believe it or not, I think a destiny sometimes is to write it. And the day that I won Miss Universe on November 9th, it was my name on the newspapers, and it was Your Country Tragedy in the same
That's true.
newspaper.
Yes.
So sometimes God or destiny acts in very magical ways. And I think if for some reason, your country, your people, uh, give me hope, give me strength. And I think that in my other life I was Filipinos or something because
Good day.
I just love you guys.
It's giving me goosebumps right now because I remember that day when you won. I was stranded in an island because all the flights were canceled because of the typhoon, and then we're having a hard time with electricity because there was a typhoon. But I told my friends, we don't have electricity in our hotel. I need to go to your hotel with a generator because I want to watch Miss Universe.
Wow.
So I
Congratulations.
remember that. I still remember that day. So it was 2 a.m. in the morning, and I was wide awake because I want to watch Miss Universe. And so I will never forget that day.
Here in in Japan was really early morning.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how
Well, we came for
passionate you
Venezuela.
are.
Yeah.
I
And
know
now,
you don't get to.
you mentioned earlier that you've been to like 17 or 18 countries during your reign. But if there's one moment during your all of your travels that you treasure the most, aside from your travel to the Philippines, what was it?
Yeah.
Well, the moment or the country.
The moment, like the moment
The
in any country that you've been to that you remember the most, like you treasure it the most during your reign.
Yeah. Because of my travel to the Philippines, and I always mention this because they have value to my heart and my soul. Because of the traveling and because of the support and because of of my actions, I received the blessing from Pope Francis on 2014. So traveling to Italy and visit the Vatican in Rome,
Mhm.
it was it was about the moment, it was about the experience, but it was special for me because it means that what I did value, and what I did, it was important for others, and what I did actually changed the life of others, and what I did have the blessing of God. So
Mhm.
I think that was one of the most meaningful moments for me because it was like a, like I don't know, like a hug or like palm on
Yeah.
your back that say you're doing the right thing, you're doing good, you're in the right path. I think when you have the signals that tells you that you are on the right path, you value those signals. It doesn't matter from God, from the universe, from the cosmos, but you value that. And I think that would be one of the most valuable moments for me.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
remember the
still
photo.
remember that.
Posted that one on Missosology, I remember.
Yeah. Because as a devout Catholic, to be blessed by the Pope is like a highlight of the life of your life.
Yeah.
And now I want to. There's this one question from one of the fans because when we posted your banner, we asked some of them what they want to ask you. So one of the question, yeah, one of the questions is that um, you've had your humanitarian causes after your reign. You did launch your some of your humanitarian causes. So can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, actually, after Miss Universe, I remember that before giving the crown, they told me, Gabby, what do you want to do for your future? What we can do for
Mhm.
you to establish the right connections or the right networking for you to achieve your goals. So I remember that they introduced me to Mike Hoffman, who became my partner next in the future, and he's a humanitarian advisor. So he helped me to create my foundation. I have a fund in the U.S. called Universal Blessing Fund, and I have my foundation in Venezuela called Iniciativa Isler, the Isler Initiative. for the past year and a half, I have been very slow on my initiative because of my work. But I partnered with a Catholic, well, it is Catholic, but it's more about education organization that holds education programs for school. It's a series of book called Learning to Love. It goes from pre-kinder until high school. So each book show the kids is a kind of like a comics or novel where they see like real life experience and they can learn from those experience in the book with two characters. Um, and it is a girl and a boy, so they can understand about bullying, they can understand about sexual relationships, they can understand about family values. So and the time that I partnered with Cisneros Media for a teenager pregnancy campaign called If You Run What You Win. um, it was about create awareness for teen pregnancy prevention because Venezuela at that moment hold one of the highest rate for teen pregnancy. So establishing these programs in more than 10 schools in Venezuela and partnering with Cisneros give me the opportunity to create awareness not just in the schools but also on the TV, on different states of Venezuela. So I'm continuously supporting the programs that I have and these schools in Venezuela, and I hoping to repackage or reformulate my goals because I want to do more, but I want to be more involved. So hopefully, I think next year we share more about the initiatives that I have in mind.
Bless you with that one.
Yeah, and it's glad that it's good to know that you carried over all those charitable work that you do from Miss Universe and now to your life now. It's very admirable.
Yes,
And
yeah, and actually, right now I'm working with a project that you may see in the future is about domestic violence because of the quarantine. The rates have been increasing around the world. So I will become a spokeswoman for a very important global organization, international organization that is also based in Venezuela. So I will start a social media campaign soon about domestic violence. So I think, as I mentioned, when you can help, no matter if it's small or big or from where, at least if you help one person, it's enough.
Yeah, it's being a beauty queen with all the responsibilities and the influence that you have with you. It just didn't stop the moment you turn over your crown. It continues. The legacy will always be there, and you'll always find opportunities to actually help others, even if it's just one person, which is exactly what you said. It's also one of the motivations that I have with working in a beauty pageant myself, because some people probably don't see the essence of having a beauty pageant, but they have no idea how it has changed the life of one woman or one girl, and eventually she was able, in your case for example, we were able to change the lives of many hundreds and thousands or even millions more all throughout that journey that you have been through. Sports athletes probably have that opportunity as well, but so does beauty pageant winners.
Yeah, and I think it's something that we have the opportunity to change. I always tell the Miss Venezuela girls, well, the Miss Venezuela contestants during the past years that they have the opportunity to actually transform the perspective that others have about pageants, because the new generations and the people believe that it's something that is just about beauty, that is just about I don't know, interests that maybe do not transcend. For me, all is about transcending. When you can transcend about your soul and your goals and your purpose in life, that's the value. Beauty is not transcending. I mean, it's at some points you're gonna get old. At some point, you're not beauty enough for others. But what you do, the legacy that you built, the actions that you prove and you practice every day, that's the most important. And when the girls realize about this, I think that's the beauty of pageants and the empowerment that we can create each other's. And if well, this is more important. If we realize that we are more powerful together than separate, and that it's not about competition of beauty and how you look and how I look and my beauty is best than yours. When we realize that we are stronger together and we do not compete each other and we support each other, I'm helping you to smile bigger. I'm helping you to shine more, and you're helping me to shine more. So I think this is something that we need to rescue more in pageants, that level of competition, and bring back, or maybe bring more. I don't know how it's in English. Is sorority?
Yes, sorority,
Yeah,
sisterhood,
sorority.
the sisterhood.
More sisterhood on the on
Yeah.
pageantry.
Mhm.
That's really quite interesting because I can actually connect that one as well with the Miss International Beauty Pageant, because as you know already with the emails that I've been sending with our mantra cheer all women, which is like more about developing camaraderie, sharing, and supporting each other. You know, that's one of the reasons why maybe it's kind of different from Miss Universe, because Miss Universe is really very competitive. Like you girls are really, you know, very in a competition mood when you're there. But I think you have learned it from your Miss Venezuela International, who came to Japan for the Miss International, that they probably don't feel any competition going on because of the activities that you're doing.
And actually, I think it's something that is on your favor as a Miss International organization is the time that you guys have the girls on location.
Yes,
They
they
have
have
like
a lot of
3 weeks.
activities.
For Miss Universe, last year was like 7, 8 days of competition. So you are not, in which time you're gonna make friends? It's like I don't have time to make friends. I have time to compete. It is
Mm.
the same time. It's the same thing with Miss World, that the girls are like 20 days. That Miss World hold this kind of like sisterhood, and you always see all former girls, former title holders there, and you have like a month there to create bonds and to create friendships. I think that's something that is more, I don't know, fulfilling, that is just competing for beauty.
Mhm.
Yeah, the activities are really are the main focus of the Miss International Beauty Pageant. That's why we don't have a fabulous show, because we don't spend much time with rehearsals. But
Getting better.
we only have like 1 day of rehearsal, but the rest of the 20 days they're just there eating Japanese food and traveling here and there. So when people criticize, oh, Miss International is so boring, blah blah blah, but what should we sacrifice? You know, we are going to
I
sacrifice
think
quality time.
I think nothing. I think the girls love it. Melissa came from Japan and she was like, oh my God, I want to stay there even more, because it is about experience, it is about the culture, it is about the enjoyment,
Mhm.
and it's always, I don't know, for me it's a blessing when you have the chance to share with so many girls
Mm.
about the cultures, and when you're not competing, you're just living that journey,
Mhm.
and she love it. So I think you don't have to sacrifice anything, because it's, for her, it was beautiful.
Yeah, she's like a little girl who was left all alone in Disneyland, and
All happiness, it is all, yeah, it's lovely.
And now that you mentioned Melissa, I want to know what was the most rewarding feeling as a national director for you?
one of the national directors, by the way. Just want to
Yeah,
correct
one of the
that
national
people
directors.
think
Yep.
that you are the only national director, but this is really actually an organization in Miss Venezuela wherein three of you are of
Yeah.
equal position running everything. So just before we before people would actually like
Yeah.
Uh,
misunderstand.
yeah, yes, just to make sure people who is joining the conversation. In 2018, I joined the executive committee of Miss Venezuela, where three directors, we have Nina Cecilia, who is a former Miss International, Jacqueline Aguilera, she's a former Miss World, and myself as a former Miss Universe. So each one have a different areas of that we take care of. My is communications and franchise communication relationship as well, and training of the girls. I'm in charge of all the training process, what they need to wake up, to do better. So one of the most I don't know, fulfilling moments for me as
Yes.
a training director, uh, is the daily basics when I see the girls that actually walk in with very low self-esteem, or like myself that I believe that didn't belong to this. And when I see how the girls start to talk about, no, I deserve to be here because I have this, I am this, I'm worth it. That for me is everything, because I see how I transforming how we are as organization. We are transforming the way that they're really, first the way that they are um, thinking about themselves. But when you transform the way that girls are thinking, they can transform their world. So that's for me one of the most, I don't know, joyful moments. And I feel so proud when I see, I don't know, for example, the judge interviews and I see them talking. I'm like, you see my face, and I'm like, Mom, I don't know, without kids yet, but I feel so proud. And every achievement of the girls, where Melissa did an impeccable job. She's all about joy, and she's so authentic. So when I see the girls being authentic to themselves, that for me is magic. When I see girls that understand the value of their voices, that for me is enough. So beauty, yes, it's possible. Everyone can look beautiful. We have makeup, we have hair tools, we have dresses, we have everything to look beautiful, and I feel proud of all the girls that look amazing and beautiful. But this here, that's what makes me feel proud.
Yeah. I'm actually very impressed with you, Gabriela, and the rest of the team, Jacqueline and Nina Cecilia, are
Nina.
very impressed because you actually, the three of you, took over this position um, in a very difficult times with Miss Venezuela and with all the negative publicity being um, putting you on the spotlight, but you were able to transition it and in a way that people's just eventually it just died a natural death, and people did not really focus too much on the negative sides of it.
Sandals.
So I'm very impressed with the way you actually handled all of this. Like, it just seems to show that, wow, these beauty queens really know exactly what you're doing. You know when to bite and when not to bite. You know what I mean? And it was really very impressive. I was just like observing it little by little because people were actually like, oh, these three probably they won't be able to handle this huge bomb that was dropped in Miss Venezuela organization. But you proved them wrong. You guys did magnificently well. Mariam became Miss International, and then you have second runner-up in Miss Universe and Miss World, at least finally making it into the semifinals after so many years. It was a really very good transition. So how did you guys, actually do it? I mean, like, it's very impressive.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have to say that it was a very challenging moment when we joined the organization, for everyone, I think, and especially for me because I'm based in the U.S., so coming back to Venezuela, re-meet or like meet again with my people, with the beauty fans, the beauty pageant fans, and reestablish reestablish the connection with the fan audience and everything. I was like, oh my God, I'm doing my best. I'm going to Venezuela. I'm going to be part of this project that is going to change and transform the new generations. And suddenly it was like, boom, like the people was very mean. The
Mm.
people, again, you're not going to be able, you're not capable, you're not enough. Why you're there? You have not have the right to take that position. And it was like, I do not want to take the place of anybody. I do not want to do the things that anybody did in the past. I'm a unique human being that have my own ideas, my own perspective of life, and I'm here to bring back my country, what my country gave me at some point. So it was very challenging because the expectations always are huge when you talk about Venezuela. And what I did was focus on what we want to show to the world, and what we have to heal on the heart of the organization. So we work in the different protocols. We have a new code of conduct and ethic. We have different restrictions to be part of the Miss Venezuela. When you want to join the team, if you want to join as a contestant, you need to be aware that you have to sign this code of conduct and ethics, and you need to work with the values of the organization, with the philosophy that we promote of excellency, integrity, ethics. So we established like a new, all the philosophy was already existent, but we bring back to make sure that people know what we are as a new team and what we want to show to the world. So from my direction as a director of communication was a huge challenge. We changed the website, we changed the logo, we changed so many things. We want to make a refreshment in the whole, not just the way how we look, but the way how we present ourselves to the girls that want to compete for Miss Venezuela. So it was a challenge. I think I feel very proud of the way that we are handling, and especially the way that I go ahead. I do not stop myself. I'm like, okay, maybe a lot of people don't like, but I think it is the correct thing to do. And just keeping us always true to my values, true to my goals. And I think for now, it has been an amazing experience. Forgive me those that I don't have 40 years, 30 years of experience, but the only way to have it is trying. And this is my first work my first executive work. I just have 30 years old, and I do believe that I'm capable of doing even more. I have my education, I have my skills, I have my perspective of life, I have my good taste, because I think that I have good taste. And I have many things that I will have add value to my position, but more than that, I have the willing and I have the commitment with my country to put the name of my country here every time I have the opportunity. So that is something that nobody will take that away from me. And I always will work for that main purpose. It's all about my country. It's not about Gabriela, as you see, and as you mentioned the first time. When people talk, I'm a lady. I do not respond that because it's not about me. Those who want to believe it, go ahead. My actions will be the ones that speak for me and for myself. So that's my mantra. Just go ahead, Abby.
You have proven that in 2012 and 2013, you will prove it again as one of the national directors of Miss Venezuela. And I'm pretty confident that you are putting the Miss Venezuela organization in the right direction, because some people probably will just evaluate you based on the results in the Miss Universe, Miss International, Miss World, or what pageants you are sending. But at the end of the day, you are put in a position wherein you are now saving the whole reputation of Miss Venezuela after the controversy that happened 2 years ago. But
we also have to give an applause to those girls, because on 2018 we kind of like adopt girls from the past trainings. We give them as much as we can, so we have to applaud actually their efforts, because they were committed as well. Mariam, she did an impeccable job. She was on time to all the classes. She was very punctual. She did all her best. She was always kind, always respectful, and you see the results.
She is actually really that kind of girl. Very, very refined. You can see how she was raised by her parents.
She had so much class, education, and she's very poised. So when you work with those type of girls, the result is always going to be amazing. And she has an upbringing that give her all the magic that she had, because became a winner is all about her. I mean, she did everything. Us, or for example, as organization, I think that we did our best in the time for her, and look the results, and we feel proud at least to be part of that special moment. But yes.
Hi, Mariam, if you're watching.
Yeah, and there's an interesting question from the live feed today, and it's from Noel Valdeza, and he is asking, what is your greatest fear as one of the national directors of Venezuela, Miss Venezuela? What is your greatest fear, and how do you plan to overcome that fear?
Can you put the Steven Tyler voiceover?
I don't want to close my
Guys.
eyes.
Okay, I think one of my biggest fears as a national director is not to be true to myself and not hear my intuition.
Mhm.
Sometimes a lot of people, as same as a beauty pageant, tell you, oh, you're doing it wrong. This is not what people want to see. This is not what people are looking. You are wrong. This is not the way that the beauty pageant should go. Or, I mean, I'm not talking as a director right now. I'm talking as Gabriela. Um, and I think it must be my biggest fear is like listening to those that maybe do not have their right opinion because they don't know the context. So I always try to be true to myself and to listen my intuition. My sometimes as a woman we have like a sixth sense that we say, maybe this is not a good idea, so don't do it.
Yeah.
So I listen to my heart, and I think this is something that I don't want to lose, because as an executive, I think that you never, for more that you want to perform your job with responsibility, with professionalism, with ethic, with your values, you have never, you should never lose your, I don't know, your sensibility and your authenticity. And I think is that would make us special. So I hope so that I always keep true to myself.
Yeah. And then there's another interesting question from Instagram, and it said that Venezuela is one of the powerhouses, especially in Miss Universe. And over the last few years, Miss Universe has been changing, especially ever since you won. So, how do you think Venezuelan queens today will fit in the criteria that Miss Universe is now looking for in a winner?
Okay, I love my Miss Universe family. I love all of them with all my heart. But Miss Universe is like during the past year, as we know, is a transition. I'm one of the
Mhm.
last of the Trump era, and now they transition to a different owner company. So many things are changing, and I'm not aware of that because I'm not anymore like inside organization as a beauty title as a title holder, no. So for me, it's like sometimes like, okay, it's going to this way. I know what they want, but sometimes like, they surprise me because sometimes I think that they're more focused on more how do you say exigente, like more they want to more it is more challenging. They want a girl that looks stunning, but at the same time that she's wise, that she have criteria to make right opinions. Sometimes they want a girl that walks, well, sometimes not always. They love a girl that walks with confidence
Hmm.
and she looks stunning on the stage. And and sometimes they want a girl that feels vulnerable and show themselves like real. So it's a combination of like vulnerability with power, with confidence, with beauty, with the show. And it's so many things that you have to perform at the same time. And sometimes you have like 7 days, 2 weeks to show them that you are that woman, that you can be the ambassador of the brand, that you can be the spokesperson to from the charity organization, that you can be that amazing woman that walk on the runway on New York Fashion Week.
Hmm.
And sometimes the girl, I mean, you need to be multitasking and I don't know, it's difficult. So I think if for us and for any country competing for Miss Universe, we need to focus on the training. We need to focus on the comprehensive education that we bring to the girl and not just focus on the beauty. And I don't know how Venezuelans, they're gonna like, it will depend of the girl how they will adapt to this to these combinations of like X Factor, beauty,
Mhm.
power, and
And speaking
diva.
skills as well. I think they focus a lot on speaking skills.
And speaking skills, yeah. And that you see the girls having these talks like debates and conversations. That's because they say criteria, because they're looking at girls that they have ideas and like have the ideas because they know they have the context to make an opinion that is right. So they have a speaking skills, not because they're just intelligent or just smart, but they have, I don't know, like life experience that give them the opportunity to connect with people from their heart, their reality.
Relatability.
So that's because I say they want the powerful girl on the stage, but they also want the girl that looks vulnerable and show themselves close to the people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in connection to that, I just saw that Miss Venezuela released the official candidates earlier today. So
Yeah.
a lot have been asking, what can we expect from Miss Venezuela 2020?
Okay, guys, I told you guys that this interview is as a beauty former
Beauty.
title holder, not the director. But I'm very excited, as you see, it's public that we released the picture today. We had already our girls elected since March. So they're having like doing all the training online since March, the second week of March until now. So it has been like almost 3 weeks of preparation, online classes, runway, emotional training. I mean, everything, oratory, speaking skills, debates, like all of these are happening right now. So today was a very important day because we released the states that all the girls will represent. Now, not just they have a name, but they have a sash on their chest that represent maybe the state where they're born or a state that is close to their heart. So now it's like, boom, the beginning of competition. They're happy, they're excited. All of them love the pictures because they feel powerful. They feel like a top model girls, you know. So we're very proud of this group of girls. And for the beauty pageant season, we're expecting to adapt to this new normal that we are living. So I don't want to say something that I don't want to like give you any
Spoiler or
yeah, because one day at a time. You know
sure,
how
sure.
it is.
Of course.
Last week, no quarantine. This week, yes, 7-day quarantine. So we're like, yes, we're working. Well, yes, but we're working slow. Yes, but so it's back and forth the quarantine here in Venezuela. But for now, Miss Venezuela final is on September 24th. And we have 22 beautiful girls that, besides to being just beautiful, they are smart, they're kind, they're aware of the power of their voices in the construction of a better society and the power that they can add to Venezuela that we really needed. So we're expecting to continue as much as we can, and maybe the dynamic will be different from the past years, of course. We cannot have a group of 22 girls on the same stage, in the same studio. So we will adapt to this new reality and try to offer to the people not as well, not what they're get used, but what we can in the middle of this global pandemic.
I can only imagine how the 22 girls will form a big circle with the Miss Venezuela anthem. That is my favorite part of the opening. Always when the girl and everyone walks in circle with the same left, right, left, right, left, right. You know.
I know, I love it. I hope so that we can do it this year. I don't want to say too much, but
yeah, for surprise us, Gabriela. Like it will be another interesting and exciting Miss Venezuela for sure.
Yeah.
And as Miss International Organization, as many others, we are committed first with the safety of these girls and the safety of our team. That's our priority. So before that, after that, yes, we're gonna advance. But before, we need to maintain ourselves and our team like on the following the the instructions from the
Government, yeah.
governments. Yeah.
I think it's the same with the Philippines. So even though we like right now you just show the photos and all that, and you have the date September 24th. But in the Missosology forum, when I check, I think next to Binibining Pilipinas to the Philippines, I think the Venezuelan national pageant is like one of the most watched, most viewed, and most commented posts or forum, and also same as Miss USA levels. Always these three countries: Philippines, USA, and Venezuela.
Okay, but tell me something. Do you like the pictures?
I like the photos.
You like it?
I haven't seen it yet. I have to be very
I
honest.
stayed up.
I
I
have-
stayed up late just to post them on Missosology.
because Drew is more on the Missosology right now. He's
Give me
really like
flowers. Give us
he's really
flowers.
hands-on Missosology and everything else. But in my case, for example, I'm more in the Miss International now. But of course, I'm
I
not
know,
getting
I know.
Missosology.
But Drew, this is our picture.
I'm gonna see it later.
I posted them this earlier today.
Thank you, Drew. I'm gonna check them out.
I already have some of my early favorites. But
I'm
not
gonna
yet
like the
excited.
girl that I want for Miss International. No, I'm just joking.
Well, you can like Melissa's picture. She's doing a
I
great
love
job. She's
Melissa.
doing the interviews.
Join.
She's doing the interview to the teachers and the contestants on daily basis on live streaming. So she's doing great. She's very smart.
She's really sweet. I love Melissa.
And now we're on our home stretch of the interview.
Uh-huh.
So this is one question that I've always wanted to ask Miss Venezuela. Well, how does it feel to be part of a legacy, of the Venezuela legacy in beauty pageants?
Well, it is very important, that question, because I always say to my mom, when she asked me to do the dishes, Mommy, you need to Google my name on Wikipedia and see that I'm part of a legacy. I'm still Miss Universe. I don't want to do the dishes today. But no, just joking. But the truth is that it is a huge responsibility and I take it very seriously. I always believe that if now the internet and the connection and the social media is so strong, I cannot imagine in 10, 15 years when I have my kids and they say, I want to look what my mommy did when she was Miss Universe, and they Google me and they put my name. And if they find something that I don't feel proud about it, I will die that day. So I'm building a legacy that not just to respect my country and the legacy that all the Venezuelan women have created through the years. We have Barbara Palacios, Irene Saez, so many beautiful title holders, Maritza Sayalero. I mean, they have doing so many beautiful things, and I think it's our responsibility to take this very seriously. But more on my personal level, I think I want to build a legacy that it is authentic and it is powerful, that when my kids look at it in 10 years, 15 years past, they feel proud about me. And if I can be part of the change and the construction of a better country, to rebuild my country for better, talking about values, talking about what I can bring to the new generations and the way, if I can affect or impact the way that they think, to becoming a better citizens, to becoming a better human beings, to becoming a more tolerant person, that's my goal. So for me, it's all about legacy, and it is an honor, but it is a huge responsibility that I carry with all my heart and with all my humility is the word. When like I feel humbled to be part of this group of women.
And I just want to add, there's this very interesting comment in our life right now, and it's from Chit Chit Soralde, and he or she said, Gabriela Isler actually redefined the meaning of beauty queen.
Oh, thank you. Say thank
And I
you.
actually agree.
Yeah, I do agree.
I actually agree. Because during the year that you won and during your reign, having an advocacy is not really accentuated that time. It's not like the priority. But you, on your own, did it. And I think that's how you redefine what being a beauty queen is.
Thank you. For me, it's an honor, and I think that's a challenge that all beauty pageant idol holders have. We have the power to redefine what we believe is beauty. We have the pageant to put a statement and to make it special, to make it different, but always to leave that legacy and redefine the way that the girls believe and think about beauty. So for me, it's an honor that somebody believe and trust that I'm redefining beauty, because that's one of my goals, that one of my challenges like in life.
And now I want to pass the mic to Stephen for his usual question.
Normally, Molly, or Gabriela, normally I ask our guest here, like, how do they see themselves in 3 to 5 years? But it seems like for a very confident woman like you, I think I already see a very bright future for you, not only in 3 to 5 years, but also in in many, many more
Decades
years to come. But what I really want to ask is, because this is a really very rare opportunity for me to interview a Venezuelan Miss Universe. So I want to know, how do you want to see Venezuela itself in the next 3 to 5 years?
Wow. I mean, we have so many wishes for our country. We have so many aspirations. Um, I think I want to see the people that is like people that left the country. A lot of these people is not happy on those places where they are, and they're getting strong. They're getting prepared. They are like amplifying their skills, their knowledge. I'm hoping that in 5 years, my country will come back. All the people that left, or maybe at least a part of them, and with all the capabilities, with all the language that they learn, with all the knowledge that they have, and with all the respect that they perform in any of those countries, because we have to be honest. In our country, sometimes we are not respecting each other, or we're not respecting the laws. But when we are in a different country, we are like the most correct people. We need to bring back those people that are able to respect our value, our culture, and people that have the willing and the passion to rebuild our country. Because it's not a secret for the people that we have so many things. We have a geographical position like that is blessed. We have snow, beaches, mountains. We have everything here in Venezuela that no country have. This is literally a paradise. But what makes us different is the people. So I'm hoping in 5 years, a lot of people come, and those who are here, we became so resilient that we're going to build a new Venezuela for the new generations, full of opportunities, because that's what we are lacking in Venezuela right now. Opportunities to the kids, opportunities to grow in the way that they deserve. So I'm looking for a country full of opportunities where dreams can make true, and with a lot of talent that come back.
Yeah, thank you very much for answering. Because as a big fan of Venezuelan beauty queens and a big fan of Venezuela itself, I really wish your country will be able to pull this all together and yeah, eventually bring back the glory days of Venezuela. Not as a pageant country only, but
In
Venezuela
general.
as
But
Venezuela
that's
in general.
part. That's part because Miss Venezuela usually represent part of a culture.
Mm.
And if you see the shows of Miss Venezuela 10, 20 years ago, it's magic on the air. They were amazing. They created a statement of the beauty pageant competitions around the world. But now we need to be honest, and we need to be true to the necessities of our people. We cannot do all of this when people is like dying on the streets, or people are lacking medication, and there is shortage of food. So we need to be honest with, as a
Yeah,
citizen, as
yeah.
a so we want those glory days back. But that days that not coming as a magic and as a wish. We need to build it. We need to bring it back, and we need the people with the capabilities that are willing to construct that world again.
Yeah, I have never been to Venezuela, but somehow my window to Venezuela is the Miss Venezuela beauty pageant, and somehow I know provinces and places in Venezuela that Guarico, Jaracuy, Costa Rica,
Delta Amacuro.
Miranda, Falcon.
Oh my God. So you guys have a new sash this year. You need to learn it. Región Guayana.
Oh, that's a new one.
Ayon
And
Guardiana.
the government changed the name of a state. There was Vargas,
Oh,
Miss
very
Vargas.
good.
So now it's not anymore Miss Vargas. It's
Oh,
Miss La Guaira. So
La Guaira.
La Guaira. I'm gonna teach you those
yeah.
later, but
Slowly learning them,
And now, I want to ask the final question.
okay.
And I always ask this each time we have an interview. Gabriela, you are the seventh Miss Universe from Venezuela. You've done a lot during your reign and even after. But how do you want people to remember Gabriela Isler?
I think with a smile on their faces. I think when people remind you and smile, it's because you did something that changed their world. You say something that changed their moment. So if people remind me and their smile, for me it's enough because I did something that was important for them. Sometimes somebody can give you a coffee and you're never gonna see it again, but you smiled, and that's universal language. And that cost me a lot to learn. But I just want to be remembered for being a woman that is a woman that is authentic to myself, that I'm true to my values, that I'm committed to my work, to my relationship, to my family. I think for me the most important thing is that people remember me as a person that is being coherent with my actions, with my words, with the steps that I'm doing to build my career and my success. I think coherent is a key word for me. So without that, I cannot put my puzzle together. It will not fit. So I think yes, a smile and just because I'm coherent with myself.
Yeah, thank you very much,
Thank
Gabriela.
you very much,
Thank you
Gabriela.
so much. Seems like 2 hours just went with a whim, and
Hours and a half. You guys told me an hour and a half.
I know. Oh my goodness, it's really not. There's no
It
down
wasn't enough.
with
It's
you,
not
Gabriela.
enough.
I'm so happy actually because after all the emails that we've been doing this past 2 years, finally, I get the chance to talk to you, and the professionalism is there. It has always been there. We always appreciate whenever you send back emails with the courtesy and all that. It's like, oh, this is the reason why she's Miss Universe. And above all, is the humility. It's the humility that you have. That is one thing that I really admire about you because you never change. You are really true to yourself. One proof of that is that you stick with your man who has been there for you all these years. I know. And it's really very admirable. For me, especially nowadays, it's really something that I really respect is when beauty queens, despite reaching the heights of their career and winning the crown, you know where to establish your roots and you never forget the people behind you. And one of them is being supportive to your family, sticking with your man or your boyfriend, or maybe you're just lucky, to have like a really wonderful guy who has been so supportive to you, like Miss Universe winner should learn from you for sure. Thank you so much.
And
It was a pleasure for me. Thank you for the great conversation. I really enjoyed this time. Bring back all those memories for me is like food to my soul because it reminds me that I'm capable of everything I want. And sometimes we lose the motivation. Sometimes we're like so overwhelmed of work, like today, that we have a lot of things to do. I had a lot of things to do in Venezuela. And This type of conversations remind me why I'm here in this world, why I'm here in this position as a national director, why I'm here as a wife, you know, as a citizen of my country. So thank you for giving the opportunity to share with your audience about my journey, about what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna release my book, my first book this year. So
Excited for that.
We're waiting for that.
this is part of that one of the pages. So thank you. You're always keeping a place in my heart. So thank
I
you
hope
for
there's
this.
gonna be an English version of that one, Gabriela.
Okay, but first
We'll
let
start
me
with
finish
Spanish first, right?
Spanish.
Yeah.
Let me finish.
We'll
Yeah,
do
and
an English version eventually.
I just want to ask a short message to all the Venezuelan pageant followers that have been supporting you all the way. You can speak in Spanish.
In
You
Espanol.
guys, you guys love Spanish, I know. No, para todos los que están siguiendo esta conversación, sean venezolanos, latinos, hispanos, desde donde se conectan, les agradezco el cariño, el apoyo, la paciencia que han tenido, pero sobre todo el acompañarme en cada meta que me propongo. Para mí es un honor representar a Venezuela y en cada cosa que hago. Así que gracias por el cariño. So thank you guys. I was saying that I'm very grateful for those who join me during my journey, that support me, that support my careers, my decisions, those steps that I like continue doing in my life. So I appreciate the support. I appreciate even the critics, because that make me to wake up and think, oh, maybe I can do it better. So I appreciate everything, guys. So thank you for this time, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Gabriela, for reminding us that there is reason to continue with beauty pageants. You are a very good reminder that we have to continue with this one.
Indeed.
Thank you, Stefan. Thank you, Drew. And
Yeah, thank you, Gabriela.
Besos to Manila. Love you guys.
Love you. Mi amor.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Yeah.
Feliz día. Besos.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Okay, so we are